Hey YouTube, West Texas Prepper. I'm getting ready to do the candle pour. You've seen a couple of other videos getting things prepped. Some of the things I've done, I've gone in and cut or drilled all the holes for the sticks and got them with the jars. What I'm planning on doing today is going in and pouring 12 of the big ones, and then we're going to do 6 of the small ones. I'm trying to get my Coleman stove fired up. I haven't used it in a number of years and it has a few issues, so that's a good thing to know. I think what it is, it's not holding pressure. The pressure valve on it where you pressure it up is not allowing it to maintain anything, so I probably need to pull that apart and service it. It's okay, I have other stoves that I can use, so we're going to get those out here in just a minute and get that going. Alright, pulled out the trusty MSR Whisper Light stove. Got a little bit of a flame issue there, so we'll get that taken care of in just a second. Alright YouTube, not a big deal. It's been a while since I've used the stove and had some buildup in it, and what happens is, if you're not familiar with an MSR stove, there's a little cup down here on the bottom, and what you're supposed to do is fill that cup up with some fuel, light it, and what it does, it heats up this tube right here that in turn gas, turns the liquid that's in the tank into gas. And I cranked it up a little too much and dumped a little too much fuel in there, and that's one of the reasons why I've got this metal. This is actually a plastic table, and one of the reasons why I have this on here to give some heat insulation. But you can hear that thing as it's getting fired up now. It just has to burn that fuel off, and just got a little bit too much in there, and it ran over before it could really get up and going. So not a big deal. Like I said, it's just one of those things. I haven't used it in a while, so it was a little hard to had to familiarize myself with the equipment again. This is one of the good things about going in and doing things like this and looking at your gear. If you haven't used it in a while, you can run into some issues without knowing it. And so this is good. Now I know I need to go in and work on my tank on my stove and get that redone. And I've got another stove, so I'll probably just go ahead and do the other one too. Go ahead and buy some spare parts and service that over the winter time, and we'll go on. But now we got this fired up. Got a pot full of, it's just an old aluminum pot that I have with water in it. That way it turned it into a double boiler, and we're going to get on here and get the water going and get going from there. This soy wax that I'm using just comes in a flake form, and so what I'm going to do is pour it into my tin here. I'll probably fill it up about 3/4 of the way, let it start getting melted, then add some more, and we'll see where we're at. Alright YouTube, got my can, number 10 can that I'm going to use to pour. You can see I've put a little pour spout in it, bend it a little bit, make it easier to pour. I've got it filled up about 3/4 of the way. We're going to go ahead and drop it over here in the water, and hopefully it won't raise the water level too much. It's got a little bit of an angle. I can probably wind up pouring some more in there real quick and keep it stabilized. But we'll let on this melt and we'll get the other stuff set up. One of the issues I had as this was heating up was that the can, as the water started to boil, the can wanted to wobble a little bit, and it was sort of getting stuff trapped underneath there and making this a little unstable. And so what I did, I went and found these are actually springs out of multi-port valves that I have, just some spare parts. And I dropped 3 of those down in the bottom of them to set the can on top of, and that's really helped stabilize it in there, and that's what it's sitting on, and doing good. Alright, we've got all the jars prepped, it's about to call them fuses, the wicks pulled up through the sticks with the holes drilled in them. One of the problems I see on these, that these are going to tend to want to fall over, so we'll just have to wait and see how these smaller ones do. As I've been doing some more research on this, what's going to happen, this wax will actually make these wicks tend to want to get a little floppy. So I'm going to do a couple. I'm going to do one of the big ones and one of the small ones and see what happens to that, and then we'll see if I need to get the hot glue gun and maybe run a bead of glue right here at the top just to glue that in and do that. Water's getting close. I went ahead and filled up my can, And as this melts down, I'm going to add some more to it. I did go in and take a little bit of water out, put it in a cup over here, because this is going to boil off a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and get that in and get that melted down, and we'll see about how long this takes. All right, took about 35 minutes, 36 minutes to get everything melted down. I'm letting it go a couple more minutes just to make sure everything's heated up. There were still a few chunks in there at about the 35-minute mark. So I'm just letting everything get warmed back up. So little note to myself and to you guys, if you're planning on doing this, start with a little bit of wax at a time, then add some to it. Of course, I'm not in a big hurry today, so it doesn't really matter. I'm out here doing other things in the shop while I'm waiting on this. I did have to move it off the table. It warped the table just a little bit, not too bad. I mean, it's nothing that's not a big deal, but I did move it down here on the floor to finish heating it up. And we're getting ready to pour, so stand by to stand by.